these are the top 10 prospects in the UFC today. I am only including guys who are not ranked in the UFC currently. So anybody ranked, I no longer consider prospects. I consider them to be ranked fighters, contenders, etc., whatever you want to call them. So guys like Joshua Van, Tatsu Retaira, these top guys, these ranked guys are not going to be considered in the UFC. Zhang Mingyang, a lot of guys that people put in these lists, as long as they are ranked, they will not be in my list. But these are basically the top 10 unranked fighters or unranked prospects in the UFC today. I have 11 in here. I was going to debate about a couple of them. My honorable mention before we get into those top 11, basically, so top 10, is Elijah Smith. He's my favorite prospect in the UFC. This guy's legit. He's 22 years old. He's unbelievable. He's a really good striker, really sick striker, and his grappling is starting to improve a little bit, but he is 22 years old. We have to start seeing how he can improve against better level competition, against better level grapplers, and we will find that out soon as he faces Toshiomi Kazama. We won't find anything out then. He's going to knock out Kazama. But moving forward, we'll see how Elijah Smith progresses in the UFC. But he's a very fun prospect to look out for, and you guys got to be looking out for him. But let's get on to my top 10. Payton Talbet. After losing to Ronnie Barcelos, a lot of people are starting to bring him down these lists. A lot of people had him at number 1 or 2, and some people completely took him out of it, saying he got completely fraud checked, that he can't grapple to save his life. But that Felipe Lima fight was a very good showcasing for Talbot. I should probably move my face back up after I've already gotten past the first thing, right? I wanted you guys to see like the thumbnail. Anyways, Payton Talbet, number 10, slick striker, really good overall Muay Thai, really good pressure, one of the best pressure fighters honestly in the UFC today because he smothers people with his pressure. People do not like it. If you watch Felipe Lima is a legitimate fighter. He's a really good fighter overall in the UFC. But he got put on his back foot against Payton Talbot, and he did not know what to do in a lot of these situations. He was scrambling. He was freaking out. He honestly panicked and made a lot of bad decisions in that fight that lost him that fight against Payton Talbot. And Talbot, honestly, his hips, when defending takedowns, looked improved. His underhooks looked very improved. His scrambling looked very improved. His sprawls looked very improved. This is a very solid overall fighter that's improving tremendously in the defensive grappling. We watch against a really high-level grappler in Felipe Lima. His pressure made sure that he mitigated that grappling from Felipe Lima. And against Ronnie Barcelos, he showed some good opportunities of defending the takedowns and obviously using his striking and the pressure to make sure that happens. And it works, and it sets up the defense, and it mitigates Barcelos' ability to take him down. But he made some pretty bad mistakes, some pretty rookie mistakes, some pretty young guy mistakes in the UFC of trying to get out of certain positions that got him into worse positions and getting taken down. So I think Talbot's improving. He's one of the best strikers in the UFC today. He's one of the most dangerous guys with insane power at bantamweight, and he's going to be fighting at the top very soon. On quick nothing. Okay. Islam Duel Talbot, number 9, debuting into my list. I ended up moving Joel Alvarez out from number 10, moving Talbot down in the slot, and putting Duel Talbot in this list because Duel Talbot's legit. This guy's a really good striker. He's as big of a star as it gets, and I cannot wait for him to keep fighting in the UFC because he should be headlining eventually at an event in Germany, which the UFC just, honestly, if we're being realistic, doesn't really put their stars in their actual homes because it's just, I guess, bad for the UFC to actually make money or actually make big events for big countries that are actually having their good fighters actually fight in their countries and, fight in front of their hometown. We can go over it over and over again. Anyways, Islam Dulatov, legit. Number 9, great striker. Really good striker overall. And he has some slick submissions to his game, too. I think his defending of takedowns is very solid overall. I think this guy is going to be better overall throughout the UFC as we're going to see him as a big threat at 185 pounds. And honestly, middleweight and featherweight, you're going to see a good amount in this video as guys who are going to be, I think middleweight, featherweight, and flyweight are the 3 most in this video that I have. And this is the first middleweight I have on this list. This is a legit fighter in Islam Dulatov, who's dangerous, who has all of his wins by finish, if I'm not wrong. And he's a sick finisher in the UFC. This is a guy who wants to commit to MMA, even though he is a model. He's one of the most famous guys entering as a prospect in the UFC. And I cannot wait to watch him keep fighting because this is a legit finisher in the UFC. It's going to give a lot of people at 185 problems. At number 8, Gabriel Santos. He lost to David Onama, but he made his debut against Lerone Murphy on short notice and arguably beat the undefeated currently Lerone Murphy, who's fighting against Aaron Pico right now, which is basically a top 5 fight for Murphy and a very big fight that Murphy's been taking. Gabriel Santos is legit. This is a guy who was beating David Onama until he got knocked out, clipped, and David Onama hits like a truck. You fight a firefight against him, every now and then you'll end up getting clipped. Gabriel Santos ended up doing that when he, fought him the one time he did. So Santos is legit. This is a very good striker overall in the UFC. He's a guy who really sets up his Muay Thai very well with really good grappling on top of that. He's just a very dangerous threat all around in the UFC, defensively and offensively. And he's going to get better and better. And he's going to be, in my opinion, this is going to be a top 5 guy in featherweight sooner than later who can beat a lot of these guys at featherweight. And I cannot wait to watch him keep going. Andre Lima at number 7. This guy I could probably place a little bit higher, maybe even put Santos above him. I don't know. But I do think Andre Lima is legit at flyweight. This is a guy who's a really good grappler, a really, really good overall striker who's kind of separating himself in a lot of these fights where it's not like he's putting out so much volume to separate himself in terms of points and in terms of dominating a lot of these fights, but he did come off a really good finish over Daniel Barras, and he's going to be getting a step up in competition very soon, I hope. But this is a guy who, in every single one of his fights, you could watch him and you say, yeah, this guy's just better than the person he's fighting. He's just a little bit better, and honestly a good amount better than the guy he's competing against in both the striking and the grappling. This is going to be a headache of a fighter. If he can constantly make this weight at 125, I don't know how people are going to be stopping him. I think he's going to be a top 5 flyweight in a division rich, full of young prospects that can contend for the title, even veteran guys who can contend for the title, and Brandon Royval and Brandon Moreno. Alexandre Pantoja is the champion. You have Joshua Van, Tatsu Rataira, and another guy in flyweight, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. I mean, this is a legitimate guy at flyweight who's going to be showcasing himself much sooner than later against top-level competition. At number 6, Mick Oral. Now, I have him tied at number 6 with somebody else, as I'm a little bit mulling between these two. But Mick Oral, yes, he's lost the fight in the UFC already to Mateusz Rebecki, but that's a very interesting stylistic matchup for him that he doesn't really face that complication against most of these other fighters at 155. Plus, this is a 26, 27-year-old. I think he's 26 at the time he fought Mateusz Rebecki. This is a 27-year-old. Who's going to be constantly pressuring you, and he has a chin of steel at 155 pounds. So durability, pressure, and unbelievable relentless grappling and wrestling at 155 pounds. It's going to smother a lot of these guys at 155. This is a guy who can make it towards the top, and he actually has some power behind his hands. You could be thinking, from what I'm saying, oh, it's basically Mateusz Gamrot. No, this is a guy who's better than Mateusz Gamrot. This is a guy who, in my opinion, hits harder than Mateusz Gamrot. He's more of a threat on the feet than Mateusz Gamrot. He is way more durable than Mateusz Gamrot is, and Gamrot has pretty good recovery overall when he gets hurt, but Gamrot gets himself in pretty bad positions in those situations. I think Jalen Turner arguably beat Mateusz Gamrot in a very close fight. Dan Hooker beat Mateusz Gamrot in that fight. I think Mick Oral would beat both of those guys handedly. I think Oral is a dominant force in the grappling. I think he's improving tremendously, and at 27 years of age, this guy's only going to get better, although 27 just seems like a lie. I mean, this guy looks like he's from the Stone Age. But anyways, number 6 as well, tied with him, is Jose Delgado. So basically a top 11 list, but you know what I mean. Delgado is a finisher. Delgado has finished every single one of his wins. A lot of the people critiqued him in that Haider Emil fight going into it, that, he's only, and the only time he's ever gone to decision is a loss. And Haider Emil is as durable as it gets. Well, he knocked out cold, and as easy as it seemed, a Haider Emil, a guy that's as durable as it gets, a guy that's as insane as it gets. We're going to ignore that voice crack, by the way, okay? Good. And yeah, it was a beautiful knee up the middle. This guy's an insane finisher. He has really good front hooks to complement his striking as well. Really good clinch, really good striking at distance, really good striking on the inside. And this guy's a threat. This guy's an absolute threat in MMA, and you do not want to face him in the octagon. This guy's going to be an insane fighter at featherweight. That's going to be able to fight against a lot of these guys in the top 15 rather. And I think he's going to be able to make it to the top 5. I think this is a young fighter who's an unbelievable finisher, who's going to improve across the distance, so we're going to see him across the distance eventually. But, I mean, he's cracking the uncrackable. Let's see how he keeps going throughout the UFC. And he has the front chokes to mitigate a lot of these grapplers who leave their necks out in these shots. And a lot of grapplers at featherweight shoot a lot of takedowns, but they also leave their necks out a lot, and they don't really chain it too well and keep themselves safe. And a guy with a guillotine and a front choke and the sprawl that Delgado has, I cannot wait to watch him fight against a lot of these grapplers and prove himself in these fights. Kevin Vales at number 5. Now, Kevin Vales, in my opinion, is a very beautiful boxing style fighter at 145 pounds. Another featherweight we have who just fought Danny Silva, which is a very good prospect at 145, and dominated that fight. Yes, Danny Silva had some moments, but Danny Silva honestly was eating big shots from Vales. Danny Silva was just very, very durable. Honestly, for most people that fought against Vales in that fight, if they fought Vales and took the same shots that Danny Silva took, a lot of them would have gotten knocked out. This is a legitimate boxer with honestly decent grappling overall to set up and kind of mix it up a little bit on some guys who maybe they were kind of reading him a little bit because his speed isn't the greatest, but his timing is fantastic. Really good body shots, a beautiful overhand right, and a really good left hook to complement it. This is a really good boxer. Good frame. He's a little bit small for 145, but his base is very solid. His ability to fight into that base is great. And I cannot wait to keep watching Kevin Vales perform in the UFC because he's going to be performing at a top level. His only loss in his career is against Gene Silva, who's about to be fighting Diego Lopez. In my opinion, will knock out Diego Lopez and is a championship level fighter. That's a fight I want to see a rematch of, and I cannot wait to. But Kevin Vales is definitely, in my opinion, my number 5 prospect in the UFC today. Alexandre Duel at number 4. A lot of people will say this is too early to put him here. This is obnoxious. This is crazy. This is glazing. Whatever it is. This is a legitimate boxer at 135 pounds who's going to be pressuring, who is a really good overall grappler, defensively and offensively. He is going to be pressuring you in this whole fight. He's not really submit the backwards foot. And he is a very, very smart fighter in the UFC. This guy understands the game better than most fighters do in the UFC, period. He's an unbelievable coach, and he has the physical abilities to put that together as a fighter, as we've seen. Suplexing an undefeated Colby Thickness, which is not an easy feat. We only see it as pretty whatever, because Colby Thickness was also making his UFC debut, but this is a legitimate guy. He's a legitimate threat. And honestly, I feel like there would be more rave about Alexandre Topuria right now had he gone for the finish in that fight, had he been persistent, had he not faced as durable of a guy as Colby Thickness. But he showcased his skill. He showcased a dominant win against a very, very solid guy in that fight. Really good wrestling, really good grappling, really good pressure, and really good setups across all of it. I love Alexandre Topuria as a prospect, and I cannot wait to watch him dominate at bantamweight. This is currently, in my opinion, a top 5 bantamweight in the world, and I would take him over Sean O'Malley today. Moving on, Atiba Gauthier, a physical specimen, an absolute freak of nature. This guy is in the UFC. There is nobody like this guy right now that is as dominant, especially in terms of physical attributes, in the UFC, entering at age 23 years old, or however old he is. This guy's young. Again, I suck at life. I mean, this guy's as old as I am, or something, like whatever it is. Depressing, I know. But anyways, this guy's sick. Really, really sick. Beautiful overall striking. Really good power. Really good. And I mean really, really good. I forgot to put this freaking background, so the lighting was a little bit better, and another, whatever, man. Really, really good overall patience when it comes to hurting his opponent and honestly finding the best shot. He doesn't rush it. He doesn't expend his energy. His grappling is untested, but he looks like to have his reactions a little bit improved. The sprawl with his underhooks, really strong hips, and we're going to see it improve. We're going to see how it goes. He is 23 years old. He's only going to get better. And this is a guy who's going to be pressuring you this whole fight. He's going to be hurting you. And honestly, when he does hurt you, like we saw against Robert Valentin, against Jose Medina, he finds his shot. He gets you in the position he wants, backed up to the cage. He cuts you off on the cage, too. He doesn't chase you. He cuts you off and then picks his shots and then runs a flurry when need to, when it's perfectly timed. He knows what to do with these finishing sequences, and it's impressive to be that composed with that great of a physical attribute, 185 pounds, at 22, 23 years old, or however he is. This guy is insane. I cannot wait to keep watching him fight in the UFC. We just got to see these improvements across. But this is a very big potential ranking for this guy. Atiba Gauthier. Number 2, Marissa Rufi, most people's number 1. Beautiful striker. I was very, very skeptical on this guy going into the UFC after watching him in the Contender Series, but with more context. Yes, it was a weird fight in the Contender Series, but it was also weird circumstances. The guy, I think, was a weight class above him, and I think Rufi also fought a weight class up. I think he fought at 170. He's usually 155er. Cannot confirm those details. I probably should have looked that up before recording this video. But Rufi is 100% as legit as it gets. This guy's an insane athlete, a really great overall striker. He's going to be able to push the pace on you, and he's going to put you in horrible, horrible positions. And we're about to see just how good his grappling is, how good his defensive grappling is, how good his distance management is when we watch him face against Benoit Saint-Denis in France. But I think he's going to knock out Benoit Saint-Denis. I think Benoit Saint-Denis is way too hittable. I think this guy finds his shots beautifully. I think he's going to be able to time a lot of these entries from Benoit Saint-Denis and hurt him very badly. And this is a guy who's one of the best strikers at lightweight right now, and he's going to climb the lightweight rankings very, very soon. Fighting, in my opinion, potentially a top 5 fight after knocking out Benoit Saint-Denis at the bare minimum, like a top 8, top 7 fight after. And the UFC is going to push him very fast. But number 1 is Leonard Kavanagh, the perfect prospect, as I like to call him, because this guy, I mean, my God, unbelievable striking, really good counter striking, really quick overall, explosive. He's really good grappling. I think he's 25, 26 years old. Offensive and defensive grappling. His improvements in the cage. This is the most important thing for any single prospect. When they're aware in that cage and they are making improvements in front of your face, when they are making adjustments in front of your face in a 3-round fight, let alone a 5-round fight, a 3-round fight, this guy is making adjustments mid-fight, listening to his coaches in the corner and listening to his coaches mid-fight as well. And you could see it throughout the cage. You could hear the coaches talking in the cage and him adjusting and him realizing what the opponent's doing, reading his opponent throughout that fight and being able to figure it out. This guy is beautiful for a prospect. He makes his adjustments. He knows and he fights to his strengths, but he has strengths everywhere. That's what's beautiful about it. He has his opponent's strength to go against him. He realizes that there's maybe more success his opponent has in one, goes to the other, mixes it up, sets up the other one. This is a guy who can finish. This is a guy who could fight you across all 3 rounds. He could probably fight a 5-round fight. This guy could put on the pace. He could put on volume. He could grapple you. He postures up in the grappling. He keeps himself defensively safe when he's on top of you in the grappling. I love Leonard Kavanagh as a prospect. And for flyweight being as deep as it is, I cannot wait to keep watching him fight. He has a fight against Charles Johnson in Shanghai where I think he wins that fight. And I cannot wait to watch him further on because when you beat Charles Johnson in flyweight, it's basically the gatekeeping into the top 15 to see where you end up being from there. And this is as legit of a prospect as it gets. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow me on TikTok. yeah, I have like I go live on TikTok every single day. I post on TikTok like 4 to 6 TikToks every single day, similar to my YouTube Shorts. But hopefully sooner than later I'll get some different short content out there, so you can have some different content on TikTok and on YouTube. But yeah, if you guys like the video, if you guys disagree with some of the things, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you disagree with. Tell me about that. But yeah, subscribe, follow on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube, and like the video, please. If not, then is what it is. But I appreciate you guys all for being here. I recorded this video once, by the way. My mic was off. I'm really hoping when I check this right now that the mic wasn't off again, but it's looking like on OBS that it is, and I wasn't paying attention the first time. 15 minutes this time. Last time was 23 minutes. I just, got rid of the filler for you guys. But yeah, appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow for tomorrow's video for the predictions of UFC Vegas 109. Peace out.